When it comes to your business, no one provides better security and life safety systems than Safety Systems. Protect your employees, your products, and your records with a single phone call. Professional technicians ready to design, install, and monitor your cutting-edge fire and security systems. Electric locks and surveillance cameras. Emergency and after-hours response and repairs. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and life safety systems.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Every red dot on this map marks a car wreck case worked by the car wreck attorneys, Bill Hotson Associates, like this one on the Andrew Johnson Highway.
Ann got hurt in a wreck between two trucks. The insurance companies blamed each other and just wouldn't be fair. So we took it to court and got Ann a settlement of $180,000. We've been fighting these battles for 30 years and we're ready to fight for you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hotson Associates.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, the full line of Yamaha outboard motors, and the area's biggest selection of boats. Aqua Patio Pontoons offer unmatched performance, relaxing comfort, and dozens of options. Live life on the water with Aqua Patio Pontoons. Check out Aqua Patio Pontoons for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
The following is a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.
You are watching the Sports Source Kickoff with John Pennington, presented by Madisonville Marine.
Good Thursday evening and welcome into the Sports Source Kickoff here on Fox 43, presented by my friends at Madisonville Marine. This is your 100-mile-an-hour preview. It's up-tempo, it's no huddle. It's all about the tempo today. We get right into it, previewing Ohio. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. madmarine.com is their website. For more than 40 years, there's been no better place to buy a boat. All right, let me welcome in the cast of characters here to help me break down Tennessee versus Ohio. We have Jimmy Hines from Sports Radio WNML. We have Mike Griffith from SECCountry.com. And we have VFL and NFL defensive end Will Overstreet. Guys, thanks for joining us. We always start by talking about what's at stake in that day's game, or in that weekend's game. To me, this week, the what's at stake is one last chance to get your O-line fixed before Florida. Will, I'll start with you. Is there anything out there that's more important than that this week?
Really not. I mean, I think you have to really show improvement there. I mean, overall, this game is to show other areas of weaknesses that you also have to shore up, because Florida's going to take this tape and basically they're going to design their game plan around what you show as continued weaknesses throughout your first three games. Obviously, O-line has been the most glaring area that in each one of the games, if you pointed to an area of how can you beat this team, where's the weak link, it's obviously the offensive line. But there's several other areas that this team, when they put tape out there this week, Florida's going to use that and say, here's the weak link, here's the weak player, we're going to go after them with these kinds of plays.
All right, we're going to get to the weak players here in a second. Let's start with the strong players. We'll be nice first, then I'll turn you into villains. Jimmy, I will start with you in terms of 3 up, 3 down. Each of you has one player who's playing well, played well last week, or has played well in whole. Who's looking good?
I like Shy Tuttle. He didn't play in the opener against Appy State. He had to miss all the second half of last season with a broken leg, but I thought when he came in, I thought he gave the defensive line a lift. I thought he was disruptive. I won't say he was Usain Bolt going after that fumble, but he moved pretty quick going back there to get a fumble. So I like what he brought to the table. I liked his energy, and they need some folks up front, that defensive line, to be disruptive, and I thought Shy Tuttle was that against Virginia Tech.
Mike Griffith?
A guy, I think this is his breakout game, Tyler Bird. You know, you heard a lot about this recruit out of Naples, Florida during the offseason. You heard about how the defense and the offense was fighting over this guy who was going to get him. The offense won, we thought, for depth, but now Josh Smith with a tweaked ankle. So we're going to get to see Tyler Bird. He made a great catch in that Virginia Tech game in the back of the end zone. It didn't count. But this guy is unbelievably talented. He was Florida's long jump champion. He's got incredible, fastest guy on the team. I mean, I can't say enough about Tyler Bird. You'll see why on Saturday.
It was out of the end zone, but that was a terrific catch. That was a very good catch out of the end zone. Will, who are you going with?
Another big ugly, Danny O'Brien. He had a great game. It really changed the line of scrimmage several times. He was in the backfield causing pressure, causing havoc, and I think that's another way for this team to step up. If you're a senior on this team, you got to perform week in and week out and show guys on this team, the younger players especially, of how it is to play every single week and be ready for every single game.
We also have to mention Micah Abernathy, who had a good breakout game against Appalachian State, played really one of the few guys on the team that popped that day that you could say, well, he played well. Virginia Tech, 3 fumble recoveries. That's the first time in the history of the school that's happened. Not a bad day at the office, not a bad 2 weeks for Mr. Micah Abernathy. All right, let's start with 3 guys who are down, 3 guys that haven't been playing up to par or need to really step it up this week. Why don't I start down there?
Colton Jumper. I mean, you're filling in. If you're going to be the guy that takes over that middle linebacker position, you've got to be ready to play. And you've got to understand, especially from the game plan that Florida put out last year, they're going to be looking at you to find out how they can put a wide receiver on you and how they make you play in space and be uncomfortable. So this week, he's got to be able to show if he's going to be in the middle of the field, he's got to be able to do a better job in coverage.
Well, and we saw him get smoked last week against Virginia Tech by the fullback up the middle. Mike Griffith.
Drew Richmond, I mean, essentially gave up 2 sacks. One was a direct relation to a missed block by Drew. Another time his guy beat him and forced the quarterback to step up into the pocket. Somebody else sacked him. But Drew's got to do better. I mean, this is not one of the guys they want to rotate. You want to have someone solid there at left tackle that's got your quarterback's blind side. You want to make Josh Dobbs as comfortable as possible. You see how he throws the ball when he is comfortable. My goodness, when he's uncomfortable, it's nothing but trouble. Drew Richmond has to step it up, John.
I agree with you. And the thing is, all summer we heard, well, pass blocking, he's doing well. Got to get better run blocking. Okay, well, through pass block, if that's leading to 2 sacks, that's not he's got to step that up. Jimmy Hodge.
Well, you could pick several offensive linemen in that regard, and I'm going to take another one, Jashawn Robertson. He's a left guard. He's a veteran. He's a guy that should be a leader of this group. I've heard some people talk about, well, maybe he's an NFL draft pick. I haven't seen that yet. I think he has to step up. He needs to be the leader of this group. He's considered the most talented offensive lineman of that front line, and I haven't seen him play to the level I would expect. So I'm going to go with Robertson.
Wildly inconsistent so far. There were plays against Virginia Tech you could put on screen where he's pushing guys all over the place. There are other plays where he looks like he's never stepped on a football field before and he's not sure if he's supposed to go left, right, who have I got here? So the consistency for a guy who's played for so long, you wouldn't expect those issues out of Jashawn Robertson. All right, each week we kind of break this down. I'll put this right here. I put it in a different space every week just to mess with my director, the fabulous Chris Lane. If we can get a shot of this. The robotic. There we go. Here, I'll move it. You leave the camera there. Let's do it there. Look at that. Now that's professional. That's high-grade television somewhere up here. All right, we do this. In terms of strengths, and this is going to be a lot more interesting once we get into SEC play next week. But quarterback, are we going Tennessee? Are we going Ohio University with Greg Windham? I know we're going to talk about Windham a little later, but that's got to go Josh Dobbs still, doesn't it?
I'd give Dobbs the edge. I like what the stats Windham has put up the first 2 games, so I'd go Dobbs.
Dobbs?
Yeah, I think so.
Dobbs, if the game plan allows him to run and is not just sitting back and throwing the ball.
Good point. All right. Look, let's do this. Defensive line, I think we're going to give that one to Tennessee, correct?
Yeah.
Now, look, here's the deal. I've not seen enough out of Ohio. They've played 2 not wow games, Texas State, Kansas, at the same time averaging 5.2 yards per carry and haven't allowed a sack so far this season. On paper, and maybe this is just to motivate them, I'm going to Ohio. Until I see more out of Tennessee's offensive line, I'm going to see it when I believe it. Now, you guys can move me back. Who wants to move me back? Will's being quiet down there. Mike Griffith, you laughed. You want to move me back?
I think you need to move it back. I do. I mean, they haven't played
with that,
anybody.
do you push it all the way, Jimmy?
No, I'm with you. In fact, I thought you were reading my notes. I'm going with the opposing team until Tennessee's offensive line shows me that it plays at a decent level.
There we go.
So I'm going to go with Ohio.
Then take that, Mike Griffith. And who knows, how do the people at home not know that you were reading my notes?
Well,
that could be. Yeah, that's right. All right. When we come back, we're going to take a look. What is the biggest concern going into the Ohio game on Saturday? Is it Tennessee's game plan, what the coaches dial up? Is it Ohio itself? Injuries? The offensive line? What is the biggest concern? We'll tell you. Come on back on the Sports Source.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, the full line of Yamaha outboard motors, and the area's biggest selection of boats. Boats like G3 Suncatcher pontoons, coming in a variety of sizes. G3 Suncatchers combine stylish lounge areas with cutting-edge technology. Check out G3 Suncatchers for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Games and Things wants to put more fun in your life with a new pool table. Games and Things features a huge selection, including Brunswick and Olhausen, two of the most respected brands in the industry. Traditional, contemporary, rustic, or formal, Games and Things has many styles to choose from. You can even customize the pool table to fit your own personal taste. See the selection online at OurGameRoom.com or visit our award-winning showroom at Kingston Pike and Lovell Road.
Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun, fun, fun.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Every red dot on this map marks a car wreck case worked by the car wreck attorneys, Bill Hotz and Associates, like this one on I-40 near Asheville Highway.
Ed got rear-ended by a truck and hurt his back. He couldn't have an MRI because of an old war injury, so the insurance company refused to pay. We filed a lawsuit and they paid. Ed fought for all of us, and we fought for Ed.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hotz and Associates.
Welcome back in this segment of our program, the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Madisonville Marine. This segment presented by Games and Things. And in terms of billiards, in terms of games at home, in terms of home theater seating, nobody better. OurGameRoom.com, Games and Things. All right, this segment we call In Depth because we actually take a little time to talk about one subject, and naturally, as I am wont to do, I take that one subject and break it into 4 little subjects. So here's what I want to ask you. What is your biggest concern? We'll leave that there for a second. What's your biggest concern going into the Ohio game? Is it, number one, Ohio? This is a team that barely lost to Appy State in a bowl game last year, 31-29. This is a team that ran the ball so well against Kansas. They had a time of possession advantage of 44 minutes to 16. Now, how did Appy State slow you down? They took the air out of the ball. Ohio and Frank Solich may try to do the same. Is your concern the game plan, as Will Overstreet alluded to earlier? Are they going to go in with that North Texas Appy State game plan where we try and do everything we can except run Josh Dobbs, except use Alvin Kamara? Is it injuries? Colton Jumper in for Darren Kirkland. Tyler Bird in for Josh Smith. Coleman Thomas has banged up his other ankle. LaTroy Lewis is out. Evan Berry's going to play, but he's got a hamstring pull. Or is it the good old offensive line where Jack Jones came in and seemed to help, but they still seemed rather spotty at times even once he came in there? Who wants to start? What's the biggest concern of those 4?
If you're talking about what's the biggest concern of is the Vols going to lose this game or not, it has to come down to the game plan. I think overall, if they run in their game plan with Dobbs and he's out there making explosive plays, we've seen 1, they can overcome the defaults in the offensive line, and 2, they'll score enough points to win. The problem is if they, a lot of these become a lot worse if they're not doing that game plan. Then you worry about the offensive line. You worry about this being a low-scoring game that another team running the ball successfully can wear the timeout. So I think for me, it all comes down to, does Tennessee let the opposing team set the tempo and set the tone of the game to them, or do they?
Let Dobbs be Dobbs.
I'm going to lean a little bit toward the offensive line because I think the coaches learned, hopefully, against North Texas and Appy State, you can't gear it back. You can't go vanilla. So I'm gonna think that they've learned from it. So I'm gonna go offensive line. I still think they're trying to put pieces together. And Mike, you talked with Mike DeBoer. They're looking at rotating folks around. I think they're still trying to figure out who their starting group is. To me, that's a huge concern.
Yeah, and that's a change of philosophy because before, Mike DeBoer was saying that he wanted to stay with the same 5 for the sake of cohesion and the timing of it. But what he's recognized is that if these guys can play just as effectively going 6 or 7 deep, you build depth, you keep guys fresh. We're seeing more and more defensive lines that are going 9, 10, even 11 deep. So this is a good way to combat it, Will.
It may be a good way to combat it. I just wonder, is it really trying to get rest, or is it just saying, I really don't know who my best 5 guys are, and so I'm going to sprinkle a little magic dust by rotating it in.
No, that's Bob Shoop with the magic show. But I do think, though, that's probably – here's the thing. If they're doing their rotation and they find that one group works better, I bet the rotation goes away. I bet they're going to rotate until they find a group that they feel they can be consistent with. If they finally find a group they can be consistent with.
I disagree.
You think they're going to be rotating from now until the end of the year? More
teams are rotating offensive lines. I think that's the wave of the future, and I think it's a good way to keep everybody fresh and combat what defenses are doing. The game changes. Yeah. It never stays the same, and right now it's rotating defensive fronts.
Okay, so what is your biggest concern?
I think it's still the offensive line and getting these guys to have a solid performance for 4 quarters.
I'm concerned about the injuries. But go ahead, Jimmy.
No, the injuries, because we don't know what Colton Jumper's going to do. Look, here's the thing. If you're Ohio.
At some point, we're starting to get a book on what Colton Jumper
Well, he's starting. Okay, so
he is, but does that say more about Colton Jumper and how well he's doing in practice, or does that say that all the talk we heard preseason, Cortez McDowell, isn't his.
But they're in a different position.
I know that, but you could easily put Maben to the middle and get those guys in there.
You got 2 guys out of position.
But that's why the injury is a concern. Because I don't know what they're going to get other than Jalen Reeves-Maben at linebacker. So I think the injury is a concern, and I also think, and I do think Tyler Bird is going to have a chance to be a really good player. Is it going to be this week? You think it is?
I think it is.
I'm not sure if he's ready to jump up and be an impact player yet.
Yeah, and Butch Jones suggested that it's not night and day difference to rotate those 2 linebackers one to the other. So I was a little surprised when it wound up being Colton Jumper, but.
I mean, for me, there's definitely, if you look at it and say, what outside of this game are you really looking at and worried about in the future? It's definitely those positions where you got guys filling in like Colton, injury-wise. And then also, just in general, can the defensive coordinator come up with a game plan that keeps the team under 180 yards rushing? I mean, right now, we're going into Florida the next week, and we look at this. Team that rushes the most wins most of those games. It's going to be hard to, against a good Florida defensive line to rush for 180 yards.
All right, just very quickly, I've been a little surprised this week that the talk's already turned to Florida. I would think after what Tennessee fans saw against Appalachian State, even though you got the big win against Virginia Tech, you got a little help there. Hey, credit a win, win's a win. But you got a little help there. I'm a little surprised that so much of the focus, from what I can tell, has moved on to Florida. Like, Ohio, we can't take them seriously.
You got a great point, and I think that's a concern. I think this is a preseason. The only explanation I can come up with for how disengaged this football team seems at times, how poorly they've played against weak competition, is that they're thinking about Florida. And how could you not think about Florida? Of course Florida's in the back of their mind.
Although I'll say this, and we got to close this segment, so I need to shut up. But last week, I went back and I rewatched the game, and Kirk Herbstreit opens with, of course Tennessee was looking past Appalachian State. How could you not be looking forward to this? They won't be asleep during this game. That's true. All right? So at some point, you is what you is. All right, emptying the notebook. I'm going to start out, Mike, with you. You always give us little tidbits on Ohio. You got about 30 seconds. Well, tidbits on the opponent. If you talked about Ohio every week, I'd fire you. What do you got?
Well, they got 2 guys that the Tennessee defense is concerned with. You mentioned Bob Shoop. Can he come up with a game plan? Number 4 and number 14. Poppy White is number 4. They're going to use this guy everywhere. You're going to see him as a receiver. You're going to see him as a running back. You're going to see him in motion. This is their guy. And then number 14, you mentioned Greg Wyndham. He's a 5th-year senior. Waited a long time to start. A lot of experience, but you wonder, why did it take this guy 5 years to be a starter? Now, here's the good news for Josh Dobbs in Tennessee. They're 118th in the nation in passing. That's bad. The Ohio defense is 118th in pass defense. 4 brand new corners, very inexperienced. They're going to take deep shots.
Weakness on weakness.
Jimmy, notebook for Tennessee.
Zach Azzani mentioned that Josh Malone played every snap in the first 2 games. That is contrary to their philosophy of trying to rotate all these receivers, but not a bad move. I like having your best receiver on the field. The other part of that is that Azzani's been very pleased with Tennessee receivers catching the 50-50 balls. You saw Malone do it against Virginia Tech and against Appy State. You saw Jennings do it against Virginia Tech. And I think you'll see Tennessee continue to take shots with the receivers on those 50-50 balls.
Very good, guys. We got to catch a break. We're way over. Come on back on the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Madisonville Marine.
Games and Things wants to put more fun in your life with beautiful home theater seating. No matter your budget or room size, Games and Things has you covered with a wide variety of styles and configurations, from simple comfort to the latest seating innovations. Watch the big game, a movie, or your favorite TV show in the lap of luxury. See the selection online at OurGameRoom.com or visit Games and Things, Kingston Pike at Lovell Road, because life should be fun.
Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun, fun, fun.
When it comes to your home, no one provides better security and audio-video systems than Safety Systems. Control everything using your tablet or smartphone, whether it's a hidden TV or the temperature in your home. Lighting, doors that open and close, lock and unlock, cameras that allow you to watch your home from wherever you may be, all at the touch of a button. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and audio-video systems.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, the full line of Yamaha outboard motors, and the area's biggest selection of boats. Boats like G3 John boats, built Gator Tough. G3 John boats include everything you need in a workhorse boat, plus an extremely smooth ride. Check out G3 John boats for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Madisonville Marine. Phoenix Conversions brings you this segment, and you see their website right there. When it has to be the best, get in touch with Phoenix Conversions. All right, we're going to spin the Wheel of Fortunes. 10 questions about UT and Ohio. Some of these fill in the blank, some of these over, under. I'm stopping it here. Who wants the first one? Mike Griffith gets it.
All right.
I don't think you've started yet, so you get it. Over, under, 11.5 carries for Josh Dobbs. He had 9 versus Appalachian State, 14 versus Virginia Tech. Will they let him run?
They won't need to have him run. I'm going to take the under.
Under 11.5. Ooh. Okay. All right. This will be, I'll go to Will next. We'll roll it that way. Stop the wheel. What do we got? UT has only 9 passes on the season of 10 yards or more, ahead of only Vanderbilt in the SEC. The O-line has blank to do with that than play calling, more or less than play calling?
More.
O-line
definitely. I mean, when you have a guy that only gets 2 seconds before he gets hit, there's no downfield passing.
There you go. All right. Jimmy Himes, there's one of these you don't want, so hopefully that's what you just got. Over, under, Tennessee with 2.5 takeaways. They had 1 versus Appy State, 5 versus Virginia Tech.
I'm going to go under. I think Ohio State is a little bit more disciplined with their offense, and they won't hand over some of those.
They are, but what about Ohio? Ohio. I know what you meant. All right. Here we go. Mike Griffith.
Easy to confuse, Jimmy.
All right. I know all about confusion on this show. Over, under. Mike Griffith, I love this one. Ohio, 165 rush yards, because 8 of the last 11 Bob Shoot defensive teams have gone for 166.
Yeah, it'll be under.
It'll be under.
This time they're
That's
really
a team that averages 280-something yards rushing. Okay, you say under.
I'm going over.
Over. Will, I'm going over too. All right, Will Overstreet. The Vols have blank drives of 50 yards or more. The Vols will have blank drives of 50 yards or more.
2.
Only 2. I think that's a smart answer because Tennessee on the year, 24 drives outside of the overtime against Appy State, outside of Virginia Tech clock killing, 24 drives, only 5 have covered 50 yards.
I'm doubling it.
All right. So we go to, is this Jimmy?
That's going to be the question I want.
The Vols are currently on an 8-game winning streak, and that deserves blank attention. It's the longest streak since '98, but Northwestern's the only team that was ranked. More or less attention?
I'm going to go more, and here's why. And I understand that they haven't beaten a whole lot of ranked teams in this, but this program for about 10 years hasn't been that good. And so, and Butch said it earlier, any win for this program has been hard to come by, at least recently. I'm going to go more just because the program has not done well in recent years.
8-game winning streak, one of the longest in the country. There's nothing wrong with that.
2 people more. Only 2 teams more.
All right. This will be Mike. The noon kickoff will be an advantage for blank.
It'll be an advantage for the sports writers on deadline. I don't think it's going to favor either team. I think Tennessee's focused so much on getting a fast start that it's canceled out any edge Ohio.
They both kick off. Oh, Will's about to disagree.
12 o'clock games are always killers, man.
But isn't it the same for Ohio? They start at noon too.
Yeah. Talk about Arkansas 99.
But this team has showed the ability to, no matter what time it is, to sleepwalk.
All right, Will Overstreet. Over under, Dobbs sacked 1.5 times. Now they're averaging 2 sacks a game. Last year they averaged 1.8 per game. So they've actually giving up more sacks through 2 games this year. Dobbs 1.5. Over under.
Over.
Oof, over. Okay. So what many we got on there? Just 2? Well, heck with it. Let's just do it. Whoever wants it can get it. Blank will be leading at the end of 1 quarter. Tennessee or Miami? Or Ohio. No, I'm doing it. I'm going to pick every Ohio school out there.
Bowling Green.
Youngstown State. All right.
I'm going to go Tennessee. I think that they've been focusing on getting started faster. I'm going to go with them.
That's right.
Okay. This is the one you probably didn't want.
That's exactly right.
All right. Over under, Josh Dobbs 12 pass attempts while Tennessee leads. And I throw this in there. All of these there's a stat and a hidden info bit behind each of these. Tennessee, so far this season, and granted they trailed that whole Appy State game, but 36 passes when tied or trailing this year, only 12 when they had the lead. And you look at that Virginia Tech game last week, they corked the bottle at one point. So will he have at least 12 passes when they're leading?
Yes, he will.
He will? I do not think
They're going to pour it on.
I think once they get the lead, they run it.
I think if they have the lead big enough where they're throwing the ball, it's going to be a second-string quarterback coming in to throw it.
All right.
Fair point.
I'd say yes because I think they'll have the lead early.
And so you think they'll keep throwing?
12 times.
Very good. When we come back, why Tennessee will or won't cover the Vegas spread. Come on back.
From East Tennessee to the Carolinas, no job is too big for Benedict Construction. Patios and decks, custom remodels, even custom homes. With a reputation for excellence, rely on the custom work of Benedict Construction.
For nearly 40 years, East Tennesseans have trusted Madisonville Marine. They offer great prices, terrific customer service, the full line of Yamaha outboard motors, and the area's biggest selection of boats. The most popular pontoons on the water. Sweetwater pontoons are built to last, and Sweetwater pontoons come in a variety of layouts and designs. Check out Sweetwater pontoons for yourself at Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
At Phoenix Conversions, for 25 years, we've been the place to take your car, truck, or SUV for custom accessories and conversions. Whether it's that time of season, you want to personalize your ride for performance, or just stand out from the crowd, Phoenix Conversions carries the area's largest selection of custom accessories, built tough and fitting your everyday life. When it has to be the best, call Phoenix Conversions.
Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Every red dot on this map marks a car wreck case worked by the car wreck attorneys, Bill Hotz and Associates. Like this one on North Peters Road.
Lee got hurt when she was broadsided by a speeding car. The insurance company offered nothing, so we went to court and got a verdict of $99,000. We've been fighting these battles for 30 years, and we're ready to fight for you right now.
Experience you can trust. Bill Hotz and Associates.
From kitchens and bathrooms to custom patios, decks, living rooms, and even shutters, let the remodeling team at Benedict Construction turn your home into your dream home.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Madisonville Marine Safety Systems. Brings you this segment, East Tennessee's #1 source for security and entertainment needs. Give VFL JJ Surlis a call to learn more. All right, I want to tell you, coming up tomorrow, 4 o'clock on Sports Radio WNML, Will Overstreet and myself will join Mr. Jimmy Himes and Mr. John Wilkerson. Then, of course, it's Sunday, 11 a.m. over on WATE6, our 14-year-old show, The Sports Source. Huge packed house of guys talking about the Ohio game. Thank you every week for making us just the knockdown, drag-out champions of sports television in Knoxville. I can't say thank you enough. It's unbelievable how loyal you are to that show and us. All right. Here's the question. Why they will, why they won't. It's our way of making predictions. VegasInsider.com saw the Vols open as a 27.5-point favorite over Ohio. 3 sportsbooks in Vegas currently have their boards set at 27.5, 27.5, 28. I'm going to start with Will Overstreet down there. Why will or won't Tennessee cover a 27.5-point spread against Ohio, Will?
I don't think they will, because honestly I think you get up 21 against this team and you call off the dogs. You're getting ready for Florida definitely at that point in time, and I think at some point in this game you have the other guys also thinking about Florida. So I think once you get up a certain level, natural tendency for everybody is the foot comes off the gas. I think you just stay in that range.
About 20 seconds, Mike Griffith.
I think they cover. I think Fearless Frank's going to do what he can, Frank Solich and the Bobcats. But I think you got a fifth-year quarterback who's making his third career start, and you got a green secondary, and I think that bodes well for Tennessee.
Jimmy Himes.
Tennessee won't cover because Ohio's going to rush for over 165 yards. We all know that. And Tennessee's only going to throw 13 passes with a lead.
There you go, 13. It's over.
I think Ohio's got a pretty good offense, so I think that's going to be a challenge.
Okay, I think we have a graphic here I want to show you in terms of why I'm taking, well, we may not have it. Anyway, Ohio in their last 9 games, there it is, you can take the lower third out. Ohio in their last 9 games against Power 5 teams, the average score, only a 30-18 loss. That's a lot less than 27.5. So I'm going to go with Tennessee not to cover, and the reason is Ohio's been done pretty well in these games, plus I don't trust that offensive line. Okay, folks, we will see you Sunday at 11. We'll see you right back here next Thursday at 7.
This has been a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.